Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, and you're watching Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And there's a brand new episode of Who's That Cosplayer? And joining me today is somebody who I had met at KatsuCon. When I saw him in his Kakyoin cosplay, I had to get a photo because it was just so dope. And that is Tafkar. Tafkar, how are you doing today?
Hey, how you doing, man? I'm doing good. Just happy to be here, and well, most importantly, I'm happy to have met you and add you to my group of good friends I hope to make in the future. So yeah.
I love that. Hey, look, man, like I always say, anybody that loves JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is a friend of mine. So I was happy to have met you at the con as well. And like I said, your Kakyoin was awesome. And then we're about to do this interview and you have the Black Panther standing right next to you. So I already know that this interview is going to be fire. I'm about to go ahead and throw it to Wakanda forever with the two pinkies up. You can't see that. There we go. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into today's interview. But before we do that, like I always say, make sure that you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, and you hit that bell button so that way you're always notified when we have new content here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And as D always says, podcast link down below in the description. Like, follow, subscribe. So let's go ahead and get into today's interview. So Tafkar, the first question that I ask each and every guest up here is, what is your origin story? Every hero or villain has one. So tell everybody who you are.
Man. Well, obviously my parents died. Both of them died in tragic accidents.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. Was it a meteor that came from out of the sky, or did Solomon Grundy flip the car over? What happened?
But no, really. So me, I'm from down south. I've been there primarily most of my life. I really just got into the northeastern part of cosplay recently, maybe about 2-3 years ago, because I move around for work. But basically, this was 5 years in the making in April. So it'd be 5 years in April. Mm-hmm. I've always been a mathematics and engineering type dude. When I went to school, I was a STEM major. But I've always had like crafty hands and artistic manner about myself. So how I got into my job now as an engineer is like, oh, why not just put the two together, and like art and math. And I thought it was going to be architecture, but it evolved into engineering. And so the artistic part of it was lacking.
Yeah.
So I picked up a hobby. And after that hobby was, it turned into painting. Right. And so I wanted to be a cobbler to make shoes and whatnot. And I started getting nice with needle and thread after I took a sewing class at Joann's. And I was in Atlanta, DragonCon 2018, and I just saw the parade. And if you've never seen it before, it's like just a parade of different sections of fandom, from everything from people dressing up as periodic element symbols to anime, all these other stuff. And I was like, oh man, that's dope. I want to do that. So at that point, I learned how to sew. I knew how to paint. And I always tell like my friends, like, I'm very intuitive. Like if I don't know it, I could probably figure it out with a few like times of trial and error. And yeah, so my first full cosplay was a Deadpool, DJ Deadpool from like the Marvel Marvel hip hop variant covers. Mm-hmm. He's like, this is Eric B and Rakim with Spider-Man. So and after that it just slowly evolved into this. So yeah.
It snowballed. I love that origin story. Now something I want to piggyback off of is because I go to Joann's. I'm a professional wrestler, and I would buy my fabrics from there to use on my outfits and whatnot. And I see that they offer sewing classes. Now, to everybody that's watching this video, and seeing your craft and, as far as you've come in your cosplay journey, would you recommend Joann's to anybody that would like to learn how to sew and, work on their own cosplays instead of buying them from online?
It's a good question. I think it depends on like your level of understanding when it comes to like sewing, and that's not the only projects that they offer, like classes they offer. But for me with sewing, I didn't know anything about sewing machines. I had to get all my questions written down And when I took the class, it was basically a pillow sewing class. It's four.
Okay.
It's a square. It's 4 straight lines. You can't mess it up unless you go in a straight line. But that's another thing. But yeah. So I had all my questions written down, and this lady, like, we sewed the pillow up. The class was about an hour. Sewed the pillow up 30. The rest of the time there, I was asking questions like, how do I do this? How do I do this? Where do I go for that? And after that, YouTube University. Like, it was just, it was like, if I literally did not know anything about a particular subject or technique, like from appliques to embroidery, I just type it in YouTube and watch hours. I have so many playlists that are on private, but I can make them public if anybody ever asks. But it's just, they're all themed playlists of like, okay, this one for sewing, this one for 3D printing, this one for cast and mold making. And I just constantly, when I meet somebody new and they have something on that I've never seen before, I don't know how to do myself, I ask them that.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And do not underestimate the power of pen and paper, because it's a mnemonic device. It's easier for you to remember if you wrote it down, handwritten or whatever. So I'm always like carrying around my little brain, little 5x7 notebook, just write something down, like, oh, research this later. So I would say Joann's is a good place to start, but it's not necessary. So if you want to just talk to somebody like face to face and have that counseling session that way, is good. But there's so many resources you can exhaust, from the internet to just talking to your peers. Like, I'm in a new Discord every day. So
nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. And I think that's some really solid advice, because like how you were saying about going on YouTube, you can literally find anything on YouTube, man. I remember my second cosplay, I was going to be Dexter from the Good Burger movie. And I wanted to learn how to make, I can't remember what the hat is called, but the hats that they wore in the movie, like, I couldn't find them anywhere around here in the area. So I was just like, I want to make this hat myself. So I just went on YouTube, I typed in Good Burger cosplay, and like somebody showed me how to make the hat from paper, just regular paper. And I was like, wow, like this was pretty simple. So I love the fact that you can actually go online, and if it's something that you really want to learn how to make, people, they take the time and they show you step by step how to make it. So that way you can make your own and you don't have to buy it. And there's nothing wrong with buying it, but I feel like that there is a huge sense of accomplishment when you make something yourself. Now, you know, I want to talk about that Black Panther armor that's right next to you, because you said 5 years. It took you 5 years. It was 5 years in the making. I want to know, like, what was the process like making that thing? Because it looks amazing, man. And I'm sure when you wore it to the convention, I'm sure that you got mad love when you wore it. So, like, what was the whole process like making that?
Yeah. Well, just to clear up, I've been making for 5 years, but this only took me 2 months.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So this, all right. So where do we start? So I started this the day after Chadwick Boseman died. Because I was like, I just had an idea, and I was like, I just got to get it out, right? So I spent the morning watching the first movie, and then I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna find, because I just bought my 3D printer, so I was still figuring it out too. So I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna commit to making this whole look from the first 10 minutes of the movie, the T'Chaka. So so it started with the helmet. It came out decent. There was a lot of gaps and whatnot, but it was good enough to like do the post-processing thing where he's sanding and other things like that. The muscle suit is just some upholstery foam. I bought a compression shirt from, I think, Target at the time, but just glued the muscles down with contact cement and some spray glue. The shirt is you just make it like a regular shirt. Now, what I'm really proud of here is this is the first time I did cast and mold making. So You probably can't see it from back there, but these rubber pieces,
Mhm.
I sculpted out of EVA foam, and then I glued them down to a poster board, and I put some silicone over them, and then I cast it in urethane, tinted black, and I just glued these in one by one. That took me, oh my god, that took me so long. But yeah, I do not have fun because there was a lot of failed casts.
Yeah.
There's two parts, and yeah, it was not fun learning that for the first time. But I can still laugh at it because it was fun.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
and to speak to what you said earlier is like uh the fun part for me is the journey, but that's the self-fulfillment, because the downside is for me is once I get to the end, like the last week of like I'm about to finish it, I get this sinking feeling because I'm like, fudge, I'm almost done. So and it's like, oh, this is about to be over. Like I don't really care for the end. It's like once I'm done with it, I'm done with it. And it's
Yeah.
like I mean, I still like looking good in it and putting it on, but it's like, man, I had so much fun staying up and doing all that. But back to this guy, the skirt or the sarong, I actually made in Publisher.
Mhm.
It was just a bunch of shapes, and I made the plaid and all these things like that. And the fabric printing service is called Spoonflower. It's just one of many fabric printing services that you can use, but Spoonflower is the one I use because that's what a lot of my peers use. I got it printed on some, I think, cotton canvas, and then yeah, from there I just put it in my sewing machine, sewed it up accordingly, added eyelets and these on the side. I don't have pockets in here, so I made this little bag.
Pockets.
Yeah, pockets is all. The waist beads I just bought, but the charms themselves, I went and looked up the Wakandan alphabet they made for the actual movie, and I just drew those on.
Mhm.
The gloves, more sculpted pieces that I made out of clay and cast in silicone. And the pants are just some karate pants
Nice.
So
Yeah, I like the whole process of like what went into it, especially making, the accessory so you could carry your stuff in, because like when it comes to cosplay, it be pissing me off sometimes. Like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, for example, like the costumes are just regular clothes, but they don't have pockets on it. I'm just like, how? Like how did they not have pockets? Like JoJo, I'm wearing pants. Like so, I really want to learn how to sew so that way I can actually put some pockets on it, because one of my friends was telling me, yeah, we can put a pocket inside your jacket. I'll sew the jacket. I was like, nah, because I don't want you going through the jacket and everything like that. I want to actually just do the pants myself. So moving along, the cosplays that you have, like, they're incredible, and I just want to ask you, top 5, what are your top 5 favorite cosplays that you've done? Who's that cosplayer?
Dragon Sith cosplay.
Parents.
that I've done.
Yes.
Okay. Man, do I even have 5? Yeah, I do. All right. So starting from fudge. So starting from 5, I'll say the 2018 Aquaman that I like. That was when I was really just starting out, like my little art. So that I had like a lace front wig. I bought a lace front beard because I can't grow a beard. Sorry. So I shaved my face smooth. I put a little lace front beard on, a dreadlock wig, had little blonde tips. That was the first time I used like a muscle suit to get the look, and yeah, and that was before I had a 3D printer, so I had to make the trident by myself. So, number four, I'll definitely say Jax Briggs.
Yeah, I really like that one. I really like it.
That one was it was nothing special about that one, but that was the first time I really went to a convention that was Dragon Con
Mm-hmm.
again. Still didn't know anybody, so it was still like everything is new. Like I'm seeing people everywhere. Uh, it also had a shotgun, but I didn't feel comfortable bringing that out the house.
No, I feel you on that.
Yeah.
I feel you on that.
Number three. Number three, that's, I would say it'd have to, oof, this is hard. Number three, I would say it'd have to be this Chun-Li Power Ranger I just finished because it's one of the more comfortable ones I have.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that one, but it's also like the anonymity of it. Because my thing, I would say my personal flair or niche is helmets. Like I love being around my friends and they didn't know I was there the whole time.
Yeah.
It's like a little fun prank. They're like,
I feel you. I feel you on that. I just, and I'm sorry. Well, it's like whenever I cosplay as Kisame and I put on the face paint, nobody knows it's me. You know what I'm saying? And they're just like, Benjamin, I didn't know you're blue. And I was like, eh. So I know that, I understand that completely.
Number two is probably, I'm gonna say Spider-Man 2099. Only reason it's number two and not number one is because it takes two people to put on. It is, I'm not claustrophobic, but it is extremely restricting.
Yeah.
And as for good as people think it looks, I can see so many imperfections and it just bothers me so much. But I love that one because that's the first time, well, no, that's the second time that I actually perfected casting and mold making. And I was just like, oh, this is going to win all the awards. And I only got into competition probably about 2-3 years ago, but yeah. I'm like, oh, man, this is going to be fire. I entered in all types of competitions and stuff like that. But I love that one. Spider-Man's one of my favorites. Yeah, Spider-Man is my favorite. I don't really have no like tie for that. So yeah. And number one is this guy here because of what it represents. It's also, it's the only thing that's uncomfortable about this one is the heat.
Yeah.
When it's cold, like Halloween time, like this is perfect to wear. So I feel great in this one. But any other time I got to put on my ice vest and I walk around in this one. But this one for what it means. And I would say this is like the biggest, well, this was the second biggest project that I took on and I'm happy with how it came out.
Yeah. Hey, that's a nice top 5, you know, and I love every one that you named. And I love the fact that you have reasons behind, you know, why this is your top 5. And usually, like I always say, like, it doesn't matter what order you put it in, but I'm glad that I didn't say that because it was really cool hearing the stories behind all of the costumes that you named. So, you know, I know that you love JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and I love interviewing JoJo cosplayers because it's like, I feel like when you are a JoJo cosplayer, you know, your family, it's like Olive Garden, you know what I'm saying? So, so I got to ask you, which part is your favorite part?
Why would you do that?
Because I love to ask the hard questions because just when you think that you know all the answers, I change them.
Okay, because I ask myself this all the time. So, because I love. It really comes down to the protagonist and the antagonist is how I could go through all of them. I could talk about this all night, but I'm gonna say part 4 because the least amount of Joe Bros die.
That's true.
It breaks my heart every time. Like I know it's coming every season or part, and I'm never ready for it. But
yeah,
The least amount of Joe Bros died. I love the villain.
Kira.
Yes.
That's who I was cosplaying as when I met you too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I love, well, yeah, I love David Bowie. Because I just love his look, like before he, did the face swap. But
Yeah.
that's neither here or there. And oh yeah, Josuke, I love Prince. So
Yeah.
that's actually, well, a lot of people don't ask this, but that's my screen name is acronym. It's the artist formerly known as Rouse.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, so I'm a big Prince fan. So
What's your favorite Prince song?
oh, my favorite Prince song would have to be Diamonds and Pearls.
Nice. That is a good song. That is a good song. I like Prince doesn't have any bad songs. And I love that, just like Michael Jackson, it's just like everybody has a favorite. I mean, you can say all of them your favorites, but it's just like that one song for me, it'll always be When Doves Cry. I feel like Purple Rain is a good one, but I always feel like Purple Rain is like a generic answer. But like When Doves Cry, I'll always remember after Prince died, rest in peace. Like I call it like the month of May, I always call it Purple Rain because it always rains because he passed away in May. But I had wrestled at a show and I came out to When Doves Cry and like nobody reacted. And I was just like, I'm never coming to this promotion again. I was just like, this man was a legend and he is gone and ain't nobody sitting here singing or dancing. Like, come on, man. But yes. Yeah, I love Josuke. I love Kira. I love Part 4. Part 4 is your favorite part. And I take it that, Josuke is your favorite JoJo, or is that a different one? Okay, that's different. Okay, well, who's your favorite JoJo?
My favorite JoJo? Probably, dang. Because it changes depending on mood.
Like, I feel that.
Because some that like I would say if I just had to say favorite one, it'd be Old Joseph.
Oh, see, I don't get a lot of people to say Old Joseph. I get people to say Joseph, but they don't say Old Joseph. Since we're here too, just to let everybody know, we interviewed Old Joseph's voice actor, Richard Epcar, and you can watch that interview. It is there on YouTube, or you can listen to it on the podcast. And I got to plug the stuff, but continue.
Oh, no, I got to check that out. Yeah, so I would say just at the top, off rip, is Old Joseph, but there'll be days where I'll be like, man, young Joseph would have a perfect reaction right now. Like I'm about to be mannish, but I was in the car one day and I saw a young lady walking by and I was like, nice. I was looking at the camera and whatnot. So
yeah. Oh my god. I love that, and it's like I love that we take stuff from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure because, like, for me, like he does the oh my god. So it was like I took that and I made it my own, and I was just like, oh my Jesus, I would just say that because it's just like I love his reactions and his phrases and whatnot. So I love that Old Joseph is your favorite JoJo, and I feel like he doesn't really get that much love either when it comes to between him and young Joseph. So
he has some of the funniest parts in Part 3.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree, like everything. And I always feel like it was a missed opportunity when I can't remember Alessi, when I think that he should have showed up and then he could have became young Joseph again, did his little the next thing you're gonna say is this, and then Alessi's like and then just got his ass whooped. That would have been so cool, man.
Yeah, well, that's my favorite part of Alessi's moveset in is it Heritage?
Heritage for the Future. Yeah, he could turn people young. I played that game at what con was it? It was a con in PA. Too Many Games. It was the first time I'd ever played that game, and I had an undefeated streak. My first time playing, my mains were Dio, Polnareff, and Avdol. And Avdol is somebody that I still play with on All-Star Battle now that it's available. But man, I was just kicking so many people's ass when I was playing that game. And yeah, Alessi was a person that I always enjoyed fighting because when he turned you into your younger version, or in Dio's case, the Asian man holding the jar head. I love that. So who is your favorite villain from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
It's gonna be Kira.
Okay, Kira. Okay, all right, Kira. Okay, all right, nice. So, final JoJo question before we wrap this thing up: if you could have your own stand, what would the stand's name be, and what would the ability be?
It would be Part 7 theme. So
okay,
my character's name would probably be Mike Jones, but it'd be spelled Jonz.
Okay.
And the stand would be Steel Tipping. And it would I forgot what the ability was, but it was like, oh, okay, it's a long range, long range stand, and it would give the person vertigo, and every time they blinked, their sense of direction would change. So it'd be like they would blink, and they would think left is right and right.
Like that. I love that so much.
Yeah. So
I love that so much. So I mean, because I love when you go on YouTube and like people, they'll put the accurate songs with the stand, like for with Kira and Killer Queen, they'll play Killer Queen. So would Still Tipping be playing whenever you use your stand? Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, that's why I love asking this question, man. So Tafkar,
my favorite part of that song is when Paul Wall find the pocket.
Yeah.
84s choking that in the club. I ain't no doubt. I'm gonna play.
Yeah, man. Yo, Paul Wall was the dude back in the day, man. Like it's like my cousin, he moved down to Texas from Virginia, and when he came back, like that's all he had was Chopped and Screwed, Mike Jones, Paul Wall, 3-6 Mafia. What is the one guy's name? I'm mad I can't remember it because I literally was just talking about him the other day. It starts with an S. Do you know who I'm talking about? I can't remember his name. It starts with an S. It's not Slim Thug. Who?
Scarface?
No, it's not Scarface. I'm mad. He did a song with Gwen Stefani, and I'm mad that I can't remember his name right now. I might look it up. Gwen Stefani. Where is it at? Come on, man.
I'm Zero.
I'm so disappointed. I wish that like I Googled. Oh, it was Slim Thug. I was right. It was Slim Thug. Okay, there we go. All right, so we are here at the end of the interview, and Tafkar, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me up here. You are an amazing guest and an amazing cosplayer, very talented. So before I let you go, let everybody in social media land know where they can find you at.
Okay, so first and foremost, you can find me at TAFKAR_ on Instagram, right? And you can pretty much find me the same way across all socials except for Twitter. That's my real name. And so if you just want to find me, you can find me on Instagram. Let's see, Instagram, Etsy. I sell some of the patterns that I make for some of my looks. Not all of them, but if you need it, you can find me there. So what did I say? I said Instagram, Etsy, YouTube, TAFKAR. You can find me there. We're not gonna say Twitter because I don't talk about cosplay stuff a lot on there.
I feel you. I barely use my Twitter. It's just there.
And coffee. I'm recently just got into coffee. If you like my work and you want to support my current goal, right? Well, it's not a current goal because I'm actually working on White Snake, but
nice.
Yes, I'm gonna let you know after in a second. But my current coffee goal is doing Magician's Red. I don't really feel like making a muscle suit for that one, so I'm gonna just buy a nice a nice chess set, and I would really appreciate if any of my compatriots, or if you just like the medium, you can help me get to the goal of finish making that. But I've already started on that one. And if you want to request my services, you can visit my website at Tafkar Design. That's TAFKAR design.squarespace.com.
Awesome. And y'all please support this man. Like I said, he's very talented, and the cosplays, they speak for themselves. So make sure that y'all follow him, and then make sure you follow me, your hero Benjamin Banks, at KingBenji_Banks on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Make sure you follow me on Facebook at Benjamin Banks. I should be the first person to pop up. If not, then I need to contact Mr. Zuckerberg. Thank you, everybody, for watching this interview. And like I say every time, keep that pinky up, stay positive. We'll see you next time on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Peace.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching another episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Podcast, we got that too. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and hit that bell for further episodes and notifications. Thanks a lot to our patrons. And if you don't mind, join the Patreon. We'll be having new specials coming up soon.